All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Pisces Sun, Aries Moon. We call this the mystic, the magicians, and the men who watch the moon. Pair the intuitive abilities of a Pisces Sun with the pioneering instincts of an Aries Moon, and you get a Sun-Moon pairing that is equal parts sensitive poet, that's Pisces, and ass-kicking crusader, it's Aries. According to astrologer Jefferson Anderson, this pairing will leverage its access to the ethereal realms, Pisces, in order to ram its way through to the finish line. That's Aries. Here's what he says in Sun Signs, Moon Signs, 1978 book. Very difficult to get these days, this book, but here's what he says about Pisces, Sun, Aries, Moon. Cunning, shrewd, and subtle, you know how to get your way through charm and subtle persuasion. That remarkable sixth sense of yours lets you know instinctively whom to trust and whom to avoid. In addition, your sharp mind is well suited to a career in engineering. All right. In the medieval days, textbook Pisces Aries might have been found putting their remarkable sixth sense to use in service of the king or queen, advising them on whom to trust and whom to avoid, as well as who to single out for further surveillance, blackmail, or even who to eliminate. Today, this pairing's cunning intelligence and capacity for subtle persuasion are more likely to be expressed via technological means or applied to innovative engineering projects. For instance, using its establishment date as its date of birth, the Echelon network is a Pisces Sun Aries Moon. If you're not familiar with Echelon, it's the worldwide satellite surveillance and communications intercept network jointly operated by the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. This is what's known as the Five Eyes organization. An engineering project of colossal scale, Echelon's official role is to inform signatories to the Five Eyes Agreement whom to trust and whom to avoid. In effect, Echelon's intercept abilities give the members of the Five Eyes the technological equivalent of an uncanny sixth sense. According to astrologer Linda Goodman, the Pisces-Aries pairing will, quote, spend much time discussing secrets, including all matters of the occult, the esoteric, or the metaphysical, such as astrology, hypnotism, astral travel, telepathy, and the like, end quote. Echelon does not make use of astral travel, telepathy, or other occult methodologies, but its surveillance and intercept capacities are so advanced they may as well be from other realms. The people who operate the network do indeed spend much of their time discussing secrets, both political secrets and industrial secrets. For example, former National Security Agency analyst Wayne Matson believes Echelon has been used to conduct financial espionage on behalf of U.S. automobile companies. A number of high-ranking legislators have voiced similar concerns, mainly that the system has been used to steal secrets from uncooperative companies and provide them to companies willing to play ball with the Five Eyes organization. Textbook Pisces Aries can be incredibly imaginative in coming up with ways to absorb impressions while hidden away in their own private sanctuary. The Echelon system, for instance, makes use of a phenomenon called moon bounce, which according to author Trevor Paglan involves capturing communications and telemetry signals from around the world as they escape into space, hit the moon, and are reflected back towards Earth. In 2010, Paglan used advanced limit telephotography techniques to capture this image of Echelon listening post designed to make use of moon bounce. And the title of his photo is called The Men Who Stare at the Moon. And I'm going to put a link in the description to it. If you look at it, I don't know how he got this photo, but it's the type of thing where I'm looking at it right now and I kind of envision myself out on like a camping trip, and I'm thinking I'm going to go hike up this hill, and then I see what he has managed to take a photo of here, and I think, oh my God, I'm going to run back down the hill because what I just saw, I don't know what the beep, they're doing out there, but obviously something very strange is going on. All right. Using its establishment date as date of birth, the search engine Shodan is also Pisces Aries. This is a new search engine for those of you who haven't heard of this. A recent CNN article referred to Shodan as, quote, the scariest search engine on the planet, unquote, describing it as a kind of a dark Google, looking for the servers, webcams, printers, routers, and all the other stuff that is connected to and makes up the internet. What's really scary is that Shodan also provides access to countless industrial control computers which run the world's power grids, water plants, traffic systems, chemical factories, water treatment facilities, data centers, and at least one nuclear particle accelerator. In short, Shodan is to home-based hackers what Echelon has been to high-level spooks. Now, if you think about it, remember what Linda Goodman said up here. A lot of time discussing the metaphysical, astrology, hypnotism, astral travel. Well, in effect, what this Shodan engine does is it kind of is a technological version of astral travel. I have zero way of traveling to a nuclear particle accelerator or a chemical factory or any of that stuff. If the CNN article is correct, you could use Shodan to do like a technological equivalent of astrally traveling to that nuclear particle accelerator. I'm not suggesting that you do that. I fortunately do not even have the skills to do that, but you see kind of what we're getting at here on the Pisces Aries tip. All right. So Echelon and Shodan are not the only Pisces Aries individuals who've attained mythic status for their ability to intercept communications and or hack into the grid. Steve Jobs is also a Pisces Sun Aries Moon. In the mid-1970s, Jobs earned seed money for Apple Computer by selling what were known as blue boxes. These were small devices designed to make free phone calls by hacking into the phone system. The methodologies Jobs used were known as, quote, phone phreaking, and were as imaginative and innovative as the intercept methodologies upon which Echelon and Shodan are built. And they were also totally illegal. Not to get too far off topic, but under the current anti-terrorism laws, if Steve Jobs was doing today what he did to get the money to fund Apple Computer, he'd probably be locked away for 30 years, right? Now, I'm not knocking what he did. You can Google blue boxes and you'll see what it was that he was selling. And the phone companies were pretty oppressive back then. I'm not endorsing, jacking stuff from the phone companies, but back then I'm also, if you know what the phone company was like back then, I'm not, I don't think anybody was crying over what he was doing. But it's just interesting because today he would probably be in jail for that, So, and he is actually really more of a cult leader. That's the other thing with Pisces Sun Aries. It was kind of a little bit of a cult leader combination. Because Pisces is the cult, is into, things like cults, and Aries is the leader. And really, Apple Computer is really more of a cult than it is a business. I mean, it is a business, but it's a cult masquerading as a business. Okay. So the flip side to being so vividly imaginative is that Pisces Aries is often, quote, and this is from Linda Goodman, led into situations so mysterious, so intertwined with intrigue and half-truths that even a Ouija board couldn't get to the bottom of the whole mess. For instance, using its date of establishment as its date of birth, the President's Working Group on Financial Markets, a.k.a. the Plunge Protection Team, is a Pisces Aries. Created in 1988 by President Reagan, a PPT is officially tasked with maintaining investor confidence. How the PPT accomplishes this is as intertwined with intrigue and half-truths as the inner workings of Echelon. For example, while the PPT is thought to have played a direct role in managing, or maybe manipulating, the 2008 financial collapse, as Steve Jobs played at Apple, you'd probably need a Ouija board, tarot cards, a few blue boxes, and the modern equivalent of a witch doctor or two to discern the specifics of the group's interventions. For those of you who aren't into the financial markets and all that stuff, something like the Plunge Protection Team, like, okay, so let's say the stock market starts to drop. Well, who has money in the stock market? Well, generally, the upper tiers of society are the ones who are most invested in that. So if it starts to drop, the PPT steps in and keeps the stock price high. And you think, okay, well, maybe that's good. That's there to prevent another Great Depression. And it's like, yeah, that may be, but it's like, if you're just a regular person, you're working a service job, the PPT doesn't step in to help you if all of a sudden, you're on rough times. But if you're in the top 10%, the PPT steps in to protect your investments. It's a little unfair. And it's also very mysterious. Nobody really knows how they work. And if you follow these financial blogs, it's almost like a form of occult warfare, right? So Pisces is the occult and Aries is warfare. So the Plunge Protection team is basically engaged in an occult version of financial warfare. Astrologer David Wells says this pair's strength lies in magic and intuition that knows how to drive through life. Astronaut Gordon Cooper is a Pisces Aries whose intuitive ability to manually drive the Faith 7 spacecraft saved both his own life and quite possibly that of the entire U.S. space program. Unlike later missions, the Faith 7 spacecraft was designed for fully automatic control with no input from the occupant. So he was basically just shoved into this craft and sent into space. He wasn't supposed to be able to control it, right? So there were no instruments on board that would have allowed Cooper to take control of the craft even if he had wanted to. This became a major problem when the capsule experienced a near total power failure during its 19th orbit around the Earth. So this is from before we even went to the moon. This is like in the early 60s, I think. So by 20th orbit, all readings of altitude and orientation were lost. By 21st orbit, the capsule's automatic stabilization and control systems had failed completely. At that point, Cooper was, for all intents and purposes, a dead man careening through space. And if this had failed, that probably would have been the end of the space program. Okay, but that's not what happened. Cooper, tapping into that Pisces Aries capacity for innovation, literally hacked into the capsule's engines and, like a boss, took control of them manually. Using his understanding of star patterns, his wristwatch, and calculations he wrote out on the capsule's window with a number 2 pencil, he successfully estimated the correct pitch for re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. According to NASA, Cooper's cool-headed performance and piloting skills led to a basic rethinking of design philosophy for later space missions. Following his retirement from NASA, Cooper attempted to expose the truth about UFOs, which is essentially the occult. He also contributed to the book In the Shadow of the Moon, an appropriately titled work for a sun-moon pairing, was willing to adventure through the ethereal realms of the unknown as Pisces Aries. Yeah, so Gordon Cooper was just a straight-up boss. And let's see, Tony Robbins is also Pisces Aries. So again, he's a little bit of a cult leader. Now he's got some good stuff. I read that book of his back when I was in law school, and there are some techniques in there I still use to this day. It's one of his things is about asking questions rather than doing affirmations. So rather than say, "Oh, I am a rich, prosperous person," if you're not actually a rich, prosperous person, what you would do, I got this from his book, is you ask your brain questions. So you go, how can I be more prosperous? Or how can I be more conscientious about financial issues? Or how can I be more efficient with how I use money? And I found that works a little better than just affirming something that may or may not actually be objectively true. So that's Pisces Aries. If you want to, if you're a Pisces Aries or you know any Pisces Aries people, go ahead. Feel free to discuss in the comments section. And you can get the text. I'll have the link to the text in the description. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.